And anytime that you see a ridiculous player count like this, it usually means that it's rolling right, and that is the case with this game because each player is going to have their own pad of paper, which is going to represent the meadow where they're going to be moving their mole around. And in order to do that, they're going to be using polyomino shapes, with each round revealing a new card that all the players need to use in order to move their mole. The way this works is that each player is going to be drawing that shape onto their piece of paper with just one side of the polyomino touching their existing network of shapes. Players are also not allowed to cross over any shapes that they previously drew, so you're going to want to plan ahead and make sure that you're creating a route that won't lock you into a corner. But of course, players are doing this to try and gain the most victory points at the end of the game. And there's a bunch of different objectives that players are going to be going for. First of all, you're going to be trying to collect various treasure, which you're going to be checking off on your player sheet. But then there's also special scoring cards, and there's going to be a couple of those drawn for each game that are going to have various different objectives that players can try to achieve in order to score more victory points. For example, with this one, you're going to be gaining a victory point with every flower that you move through, and then also an additional 7 victory points if you're able to cover all of them on your sheet. Not only that, but players can also collect worms, which they can spend on these different tracks here in order to gain a one-time use ability once that track is completely full. And then there's also different patterns like flowers or ants or rivers that will appear on the edges of the board. And if you're able to create a tunnel between the two matching patterns, then that's also going to be gaining you victory points at the end of the game. But of course, there will be some hazards out on your sheet as well that you're going to want to avoid because there's going to be rocks out on your sheet that are going to be blocking different areas, preventing you from being able to draw shapes through those. And then there's also molehills that if you do end up drawing over those, then they're going to be a minus point at the end of the game. And like I said already, you're not allowed to draw polyominoes through shapes that you already drew. But the game continues like this with a new polyomino shape being drawn each round, and then every player using that to try and fill in their sheets. The player with the most victory points at the end of the game wins the game. And if you do want to check this one out in more detail, I will have it linked in the description down below.